Hey everyone, TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com, and this is the Week 13 GPP Value Report, where each week I cover all of the featured tournaments on the main slate for both FanDuel and DraftKings to help you out with your game selection each week, looking at things for each tournament, like how much of the field is being paid out, how much is being raked, how much is going to first place. And by looking at these things, hopefully I can help you out with your game selection by breaking down the structures of each of these tournaments. And here we're starting with the tournaments on FanDuel up to the $12 buy-in level, and the structure is pretty much what we've seen over the past couple weeks. Even last week, FanDuel didn't stray much from their normal structure, even with the big Thanksgiving slate. So the big contests that we see at the $7 level, of course, the Sunday Million, slight bump in the prize pool there, up to $1.4 million prize pool, still $250,000 going to first. The structure changed a little bit. We see 23% of the field being paid. That's slightly up from the roughly 20% that we've seen in the past few weeks, but 18% of that money going to first place, so a pretty big chunk of money going to first place in that game. A couple other contests with some decent first place prizes. We have the $225,000 Rush with $30,000 going to first place at the $5 buy-in level. The Snap at the $4.44 buy-in level, $15,000 first place prize. And the Kickoff, a $20,000 first place prize with a $12 buy-in. Of those contests, the Kickoff is paying out 25% of the field. So that's a decent-sized field for chance to win $20,000, less than 10,000 people in that tournament. And as I mentioned, a pretty big chunk of the field being paid out. And then the Snap at the $4.44 level has about 23% of the field being paid there. Of these other contests, the only other contest paying out at least 25% of the field is a Pancake Block at the 25-cent level. But, of course, that game is still raking 16.5%. And then the Squib at the $1 level, $3,000 up top there, but almost 24% of the field being paid out. There are a couple contests where you can win $10,000 on a $3 buy-in, the Snap and the Huddle. Both of those contests paying out less than 20% of the field, but of course that Huddle is just a 10% rake. So although on the surface that structure doesn't look great, that rake does make up for it a bit. And then moving on to the contests priced $15 and above on FanDuel, the Bomb at the $33 buy-in level has a $100,000 first place prize, but that's almost 23% of the prize pool. I also have a couple other $100,000 first place prizes, the Blitz at the $166 level and the Monster at the $333 level, but both of those games, that counts for 25% of the prize pool. So some upside to be had, of course, at these higher stakes, but the structure is not what you're generally going to find at these lower stakes games. But as always, once you get to the $50 level and above, that rake starts to go down pretty significantly. There is a single entry contest with a little bit of upside and a relatively flat payout structure, and that is the $100,000 sweep at the $30 buy-in level. Chance to win $12,000, less than 4,000 entries in that contest. 23% of the field being paid roughly, and just 12% of the money going to first place. So if you're looking for a nice little balance, that's a single entry contest, $30 buy-in, always a nice contest to jump up to if you usually multi-enter at smaller stakes, because you know you're not going to be on an uneven playing field with some of these players that have a bigger bankroll. And then if we move up to the $75 level, we see 23% of the field being paid. On the Stiff Arm, only $6,000 up top there, but again, if you're looking for just more of a steady grind, that looks like a decent contest is a single entry contest. And then there's a 2-entry max contest all the way up at the $750 level. Just 88 entries in that game, chance to win $10,000, but about 22% of the field being paid there. So again, pretty decent contest in terms of how much of the field is being paid out. Moving on over to DraftKings, also starting with lower stakes games, looking at games up to the $12 buy-in level. Structure back to what we've seen before Thanksgiving. Last week with the big Thanksgiving slate, there were a couple special contests on the main slate. Some money got moved over to the Thursday slate for some big contests. More of what we saw in the previous weeks, looking at that play action back to $1.25 million prize pool, a chance to win $100,000 on a $3 buy-in. The structure is pretty good on the surface. 26% of the field being paid, just 8% of the money going to first. But of course, you're going to be competing with nearly 500,000 other entries, so that's always worth taking into consideration there. The daily dollar and all the other games up to the $4 level, except for the front four, are paying out over 26% of the field. All of those paying out less than 8% of the prize pool to first place. So the structure is good on most of these lower stakes games, $1 and above, but not much upside to be had. The Huddle, which is a single entry contest at the $4 level, is the only one of those games with a first place prize over $1,500. Only other really notable big first place prize is the post pattern at the $8 level and the fair catch at the $12 level, the fair catch being a single entry contest. The post pattern has $30,000 up top, and the fair catch has $10,000 up top. Relative to some of these other smaller stakes games, not necessarily great structure. 24% of the field being paid in the post pattern, 23% in the fair catch, and 10% of the money going to first place in those games. But if you are playing $12 buy-in level or below and looking for some upside, not really interested in playing that play action against 500,000 opponents, those are the contests you're going to be wanting to focus on. And finally, looking at these games priced $20 or above, starting with the Millionaire, $3.15 million prize pool there, $1 million going to first. So as we pretty much always see, a huge chunk, almost a third of the money going to first place in that game. No surprise there. A couple chances to win $100,000 in the power sweep at the $150 level, and the Wildcat at the $333 level, the power sweep being a 3-entry max contest. Only paying out about 21% of the field in both of those games. If you're looking for a contest at these higher stakes or at the mid to high stakes, there are a couple that are decent payout structures in terms of how much the field is being paid out. We have 5, in fact, paying out at least 25% of the field, with a couple of those offering pretty decent upside. The 3-point stance is the one that stands out at these mid stakes, the $33 buy-in level, just 3 max game, 26% of the field, and a chance to win $10,000. 10% of the money is going to first, which compared to the lower stakes is high, but at these mid and high stakes, that's about the lowest that you're going to see. And then if you move up quite a bit in stakes, the Juke at the $400 level and the Stiff Arm at the $555 level, both of those games paying out over 27% of the field. Chance to win $10,000 in the Juke, $400 buy-in, as I mentioned, with a 3-entry max. So some decent upside there. Again, higher stakes, but the structure's great, and you're getting a really big drop in rake if you can afford that buy-in. So some of the contests that stand out there to me this week. Again, if you have any questions about any contest or see anything that stands out that you want to ask about, just hit me up here or on Twitter. Again, TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com. Thank you for watching.